Today's topic is gonna have y'all a little scared, a little weary about some little toys you got lying around in your homes. Listen, I know all of y'all have gone through that experience when you were younger or when your kids were younger, when there were no batteries in a toy doll and out of nowhere it's talking and calling you mama and saying, "Bitch, you gonna die." If you haven't experienced that, I'm sure you've experienced at least some dreams about Chuckie chasing your ass or something like that. This one's gonna give y'all some dreams. I bet y'all also didn't think you'd see me a second day in a row. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. Cheers. So, let's go ahead and get started with our stories. If you ever have any suggestions of stories that you want to hear on my channel, send them over, comment them. I'm so down to do anything. Story is going to be about the island of dolls located in Mexico. Don Julian Santana Barrera lived on the island. He took care of the island, was there on the island 24/7, would leave the island for work, but would come back, obviously. One day, Don Julian was taking care of his island, picking things up, making it look nice, and he saw a doll by the branches that were in the river. So he goes toward the doll because he's thinking in his head, oh my god, I can make some fucking money off of this doll, I can take some money off of this doll. I can take it, I can clean it up real nice, and some kids are gonna want a little cheap doll and their parents are gonna buy it from them. So he keeps walking, he gets to the doll. When he goes to grab it by the arm, he realizes it's not a doll. It's actually a child. Realized that this was a girl. He tried to revive her, he tried to help her, but the girl was already cold. Unfortunately, she had been gone for way too long. So he took it upon himself to take the girl's body back into town where he works to see if anyone would recognize the body, and the family did come forward and he was able to give the body of the child to the grieving family. However, shortly after coming back home, after the girl was buried, he started experiencing a lot of weird, creepy sounds and situations happening around him. He would see the entity of a girl walking outside his home. He would hear cries and screams literally right outside of his house. Experiencing this is letting him know, like, holy crap, this girl's soul, it does not want anything to do with me. It's mad at me. I don't know what I did. I need to go back to where they laid this little girl to rest and pray to her, apologize to her for anything I may have done, because I do not want this little girl haunting me. So he did just that. When he gets to the little girl's place where she's buried, the cemetery, her burial, whatever it is, when he gets there, a doll is laying on her burial site. So he takes this as a sign of, okay, in order for me to be protected, I need to bring this little girl dolls every day so that she don't kill me, so that she don't scream at me, so that I don't see her outside of my house. So after that, he became obsessed with finding dolls and collecting them. And in his subconscious, or in maybe forward conscious, whatever it is, in his mind, he was like, listen, this started with a doll. I thought she was a doll in the beginning. I gotta be protected if I thought it was a doll in the beginning. It was a sign to him. Weird, I get it. I've been in situations like that where I have weird logical thoughts and illogical thoughts. But around looking for dolls in like trash cans, in bushes, in parks, wherever he could find or think of looking for a doll, he would go and look for a doll. Get back to the little girl. so that he would have another protected day in his island. Think about it, because these dolls are discarded dolls, right? They're dolls that are in the trash can. They're dolls that are forgotten about, found in bushes, under trees, and whatever, wherever he could find them, right? Which means they have missing limbs, they have missing eyes, they have missing clothing, they're torn and broken. Like, they look creepy, they're dirty, they... Another place that he would look for these dolls was at cemeteries, where they were used for evil rituals. He would take those dolls. He would take those motherfucking dolls and take them back to his place, okay? He would take these dolls and hang them back where he lives. You taking cursed dolls? What is wrong with you? My bitch ass will be like, listen, I don't even like dolls that are not cursed looking at my bitch ass. You think I'm gonna like dolls that are cursed that I know were used to do something bad that I brought back with me? Locals would explain that whenever they came across Juan, he would always talk about how the little girl would follow him every single day, demanding a doll. And she would not leave him alone until he actually went out and collected the doll for her. That's creepy as hell. That's creepy as hell. This is Spirit, by the way. Oh, wait. This is Spirit, by the way. Oh, coolish. And he also claimed... He said what? He also claimed that the little girl would threaten him and tell him that he would see what happened if he did not comply and get her a doll that day. Isn't that creepy? Like, what the fuck? Don Julian's nephew is also very involved in this, because Don Julian's nephew would help him take care of the island. And because Don Julian's nephew was there often, he would talk about Don Julian telling him about a river mermaid that would stalk him, scare him, and threaten him often. Freaking... So listen. You don't just have a dead little girl stalking you. What just happened? Oh my god, y'all heard that? Anyway, you don't just have a dead little girl stalking you. Now you have mermaids, bad mermaids, evil mermaids stalking you too? Like, what is going on here? One day, on Don Julian's day off, him and his nephew went fishing. I was like, hey, listen, nephew. I got this shit because I'm a badass. I'm a fish and I'm going to get all the food. But can you go get the herd back at the house, back at the place? Because, you know, we need to eat some meat too. So go collect those bitches so we can have everything ready, right? Nephew goes back, collects the herd. Nephew finishes herding whatever animals, and he starts waiting for his uncle. But his uncle's taking too long. So he decides, let's go check what uncle is doing. When he arrives to find his uncle at the fishing spot, uncle was laying, Don Julian was laying face down, dead as fuck. Had a heart attack and ended up dying right near where he found the dead girl's body. Ugh. Listen. You know, you listen to the story and you think, this sounds crazy, you know, dead girl, now there's mermaids involved too, like, she following you, telling you she's threatening you or whatever, but this is, like, this cannot be a fucking coincidence, y'all. This cannot. Now the island is a tourist area, and a lot of tourists talk about how they see girls or apparitions, or they see the dolls moving or even blinking and moving their eyeballs to follow them and watch them. People even claim that the dolls raise their hand when they're approaching them as if to stop them from approaching that area or even the doll itself. I would fucking cry, I would die, I would faint, I would shit myself on the motherfucking spot if I saw that motherfucking dog go like this. Here's something so fucking stupid. First of all, I've never stolen anything in my life, and I never want to steal nothing in my life, especially not dolls. On the cursed island doll. I mean, on a cursed island of dolls. Have stolen dolls, they actually end up mailing them back. Some with even letters apologizing for stealing the doll in the first place. That's intense. That's fucking crazy to me. Who have stolen the dolls report that they've heard screaming, that the doll actually moves on its own at night. It has a life of its own. So they're like, nah, fuck that, gotta mail that bitch back. Some people actually have reported that the doll has snuck up on them while they're fucking sleeping. I have visited the island. Let me know your experiences. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and move forward with Robert, the motherfucking doll. People think that Robert the doll was created to be used to display clothing, children's clothing at stores and boutiques. No known reason as to why Robert was made, because he was not a typical doll that was being created in the time that he came out, that he was found, that he was owned. Robert the doll was overseas and made it to the US into the hands of a child named Eugene. Now, a lot of people, even the parents, retell about how Eugene had a very unhealthy relationship with the doll because he would depend on the doll for a lot of things, for friendship, for comfort. You know, normal things that you would depend on maybe your parents for, or maybe your friends or brothers and sisters for. But, you know, maybe that was the parents' fault. Who knows? So, Eugene would even end up dressing the doll up in his own clothing. Eugene's first name was Robert. He ended up naming his doll after himself. If you ask me, that's a little bit egotistical. Like, when I was little and I was naming my dolls, I was naming them after what they looked like. I wasn't naming them after me. Anyway, so whenever there would be accidents around the house, like maybe a dish would break, or maybe something was put into the microwave that was not supposed to be put into the microwave, you know, things like that happened, Eugene would blame it on Robert the doll. And of course, Robert the doll was always right nearby, always near every accident that happened. Also claimed that there would be moments where they would hear their son Eugene talking to someone, and they would hear someone's voice respond to the Eugene. They would go to find Eugene with, you fucking guessed it, Robert the mother freaking doll. Who knows how the doll comes to life, why the doll comes to life, but there are some ideas, some urban legends out there about this situation, right? So some people say that Eugene's dad actually cheated on his mom with a slave. Unfortunately, slavery was a thing at this time. This slave unfortunately became pregnant with Eugene's dad's baby. It is said and claimed that after the baby died, it was a baby girl. After the baby girl died, said that shortly after the birth of this baby girl, she was a girl, there were complications and she ended up dying. Now, in the midst of her anger and her grief, the mother did a ritual to attach her dead baby's soul to the doll. A lot of documentation also comes from family friends and family members. A lot of people would visit the home, you know, holidays, birthdays, gatherings, whatever it was. They had a family too, and people literally would say about how they experienced a doggo or or move from one place to another or randomly show up where it was never in the first place. Explain that the doll has the ability to change facial expressions. So if Robert the doll did not like you, you would fucking know about it, bitch. Listen, as Eugene got older, he became a very popular artist and ended up moving away. Now, this left Robert the doll abandoned for many years. You do not want, listen, you do not want to upset this doll. It's already showing you with this facial expression that it don't like you and it's gonna get mad at your bitch ass. And you still ignoring it? You abandoned it? Hell the fuck no. But anyway, suddenly Eugene's mom gets sick and dies, and this is when Eugene returns back to the home. So now he moves back into the home with his wife. His wife is introduced to Robert for the first time, and she, right off the bat, does not like the doll. She says it gave her the creeps, that she felt some negative energy around it, and she did not want it. Now, unfortunately, after they got back into the home shortly, Eugene became sick with Parkinson's, and he would live most of his days just stuck in his room or in the attic, talking to himself, according to his wife. And his wife would also hear the chatter and the responses back. And she would go check, and it was only Eugene and Robert the doll there. And even as a grown-ass motherfucking man, still talking to the motherfucking doll, I can only think and believe that that doll was actually up and talking. Oh my god, that scared me. Ghost! That's my dog's name. Eugene ends up passing away, and his wife ends up selling the home to her neighbor. Her neighbor ends up gifting the home to a friend. Listen, that's a nice ass person. Who the fuck gives people a fucking house? I know you struggling, or I know you my bestie. I've been with you forever. I'm gonna give you a house. Can I get a bestie who's gonna get me a house, bitch? Wanna help funding getting me a house? You know, make sure you subscribing, okay? Okay, thanks. The lady who was gifted the home was named Myrtle, okay? Guess who came with the house? Robert the dog came with the motherfucking house. Absolutely. Don't think it did it. There are even reports that one of the owners of Robert the doll ended up dying from carbon monoxide poisoning from being exposed to it in the garage from their car, but they didn't rule it a suicide. This person, Myrtle, had some creepy experiences with Robert and decides that, you know, everyone knows about Robert, the whole town's heard about Robert, let's go ahead and donate Robert to the local museum. So she does just that. Exactly 3 months after Myrtle donated Robert, she died. This doll really got people, okay? So y'all don't get on Robert the doll's bad side because you don't want to go through this shit. Now the people at the museum are always talking about how Robert actually follows them around, how they hear his little footsteps behind them, how he plays tricks on them, how he jumps out at them, how he follows them with his eyes. One thing that you must always remember when you are interacting with Robert the doll, which is asking for permission to interact with Robert the doll, asking for permission to take pictures and video. People who have taken video and pictures without permission have gone back home and have gotten sick physically with diseases and illnesses, have experienced heavy paranormal activity. So these people will write letters to Robert and send them to the museum apologizing for not asking for permission to interact or take some memorabilia from Robert. It has gone so far that even United States presidential administrations have written to Robert without even being in contact with Robert, without ever seeing Robert, without ever being in front of Robert, to ask Robert to please leave their administration alone, that they love him, that they mean no disrespect. All this talk about these little dolls make me think about the Black-Eyed Children. Do y'all have any Black-Eyed Children stories that you want to hear, or even any personal ones that you want to share with me? That would be so fucking cool. Listen, even if you have your own personal stories to share, I would so love to hear them, and you might hear them on one of these episodes, so send them over. Really hope that you guys enjoyed my second episode. I would so appreciate it if you would give some honest feedback in the comments, if you would subscribe and help me grow this channel so we can get some more of these stories out there for y'all. See y'all next time. Deuces.